Okay, good evening, everybody. Let's get started with the case study of NBI Industrial Finance. Now, uh, this is more about how to pick up quality stock and what are the factors that you should always consider. And this is a very beautiful case study. You should always remember that you should always look for a value buy. And if you have attended the recent meet of Berkshire Hathaway, the annual meeting, so you would have understood the concern of Warren Buffett, how Warren Buffett have explained why is he so concerned right now, because things are really bad, and due to coronavirus COVID-19, things are getting really tough. In fact, the business environment will be very tough going forward. He has sold all his stake in the airline business, and in fact things will get even worse. I don't know, like, if you can imagine or you cannot imagine, but honestly, trust me, as far as technicals are concerned, the structure is not looking very good. And if you have to pick stocks, you have to pick quality stocks, and you have to be very careful while picking up stocks. Now, one of such stock is NBI Industrial Finance. This is a case study that you can see on LinkedIn, which we wrote 3 years back. So this will give you a lot of understanding in terms of what are the important parameters that you should keep in mind while picking up stocks. So if you have to pick a stock, you must have certain parameters. Like in the last meeting, we discussed about what not to do. Today, we will talk about what to do. So Jet Airways is one case study that you understand, okay, these are the parameters that you should keep in mind, and you should not touch a stock which has certain parameters. And today I'm going to talk about parameters that you should keep in mind, and you should buy the stock looking at those parameters. So NVI is one such case study that will help you to understand that what are the parameters that you should keep in mind. And very quickly, like going forward, you will understand a few basic important parameters that you should look for in a stock, apart from, yes, the quality of management that we always focus on. Now, this is something which you need to understand, like NBI Industrial Finance. If you see the today's price of NBI, let's say if I show you the price of NBI Industrial Finance today, so this is the price that you will see. Let me show you the price. Okay, so if I put NBI, so you can see the current price of NBI Industrial Finance. It is around 1305. Now, the point is, why do I feel that this stock has so much of potential, and why I believe that this stock can be a future multi-bagger, or at least there is safety of funds. Now, we always talk about ROCE, that is return on capital employed. But you should always remember that, instead of return of capital employed, we must also look at another parameter, that is return of capital. So return of capital is equally important. So yes, return of capital and return of capital, these are two different things that you should focus on. And obviously, if you focus on return of capital, that is a very important parameter. So there are certain safety parameters that you need to keep in mind, and you need to focus on these safety parameters so that you can understand, okay, after considering all these parameters, I can go ahead and buy the stock. And as far as the results are concerned, yes, at times the results may not be fruitful, but yes, you have to focus on these parameters, because let's say if you buy 20 stocks looking at these parameters, I am sure all of them will not go wrong. So yes, chances are very high that at least out of the 20 stocks that you have bought, at least 15 or 16 will pay off. So even 80% or 70% will pay off. That is good enough to make money in stock market. Now, to understand this case, NVI Industrial Finance, let's understand a very important parameter which is called as float. Now, what is a float? Float is number of shares which are outstanding in the market. So, for example, let's say a company has 10 lakh shares. That is the amount of shares that people can buy and sell, and that refers to float. Now, normally, usually people say that a stock is illiquid, and sir, we don't see too many stocks getting traded. So, at times, you might find a stock which is getting traded in a quantity as less as 1,000 shares, maybe 500 shares, or somewhere like which is less than 10,000 shares. So let's say if you see NBI Industrial Finance, if you see today the volume on NSE is only 14 shares, and you will say, sir, ये तो share ही बेकार है. Only 14 shares, and how can we think that like probably we can make money on the stock? And even if you see the BSE volume, so this is not listed on BSE. So the idea is only 14 shares in a day, and you might feel that it could be a very risky affair if you are looking to buy a stock. But honestly, trust me, it is not as risky as you see, and it is not as difficult as you might think that this stock is not worth buying it because only 14 shares are traded. Sometimes low float can be an advantage, and it can give you an very good return in future if you understand the fundamental of the stocks. So sometimes it's not necessary that every share will have a bulk volume getting traded. So you might find a stock like Arcom which is getting traded in bulk, or you might see a stock like Rpower or something like uh, or the any blue chip company like Reliance or HDFC. You have a huge volume. You can see lakhs of shares traded every day, but it's not necessary with every company. And sometimes having a low float can be a quality sign. Now, let me give you an example, and let me open a company called as NBI Industrial Finance on Screener.in. I am sure all of you are familiar with this website, www.screener.in. So I'm opening NBI Industrial Finance here, and as you can see, I right in front of me I have NBI Industrial Finance Company. Now the first very important parameter which I see with this company, this is a small company which has an market capitalization of 324 crores. Now imagine if you have 324 crores in your pocket, you can buy the entire company. So the complete AMCAP of the company is 324 crores with a book value of 6974. Now this fascinates me. So the book value is quite high. If you look at the current price of the stock you just saw, like today it got closed at 1305. So approximately at a price of 1300 rupees, and you see that the book value is 6974. So there is a lot of room for the company to actually expand and grow, and in fact it is adding to its book value. Now another very important thing that I see just right in front of the screen, that is debt. It's a zero debt company. So whatever the company does or whatever it makes, that is a secondary part. So the very basic part that I can see, that it is a zero debt company, and we don't have. I think I have accepted all the participants, so I can see there is a request that sir please accept somebody. I have already accepted all of them, and now those who are coming late, I think it's their fault because it keeps on hindering me. So they should have joined early. So now it's a zero debt company, and if you see the average return on capital employed for the last 7 years, that is quite good. That is 32%. So looking at the basic part of the structure, it seems that okay, we can go ahead and look at the research side or fundamental side of this company. Now, why I am so fascinated about this company, and when I refer to moat or float, now there are two terms that you should remember. First is float. Now, what is a float over here? The float is the number of outstanding shares. So if you see number of equity share in this company, as you can see on my screen, now number of equity shares is only 0.25 CR, that is 25 lakhs only. So the total company, total shares that this company has or it has issued, that is 25 lakhs, which is nothing. So if you see any blue chip stock, it's like 25 lakhs is within first 5 minutes. You might see certain stocks clocking a turnover of maybe in a minute also. Certain stocks clock the turnover of more than 25 lakhs. So it's important that you understand over here, this company has only issued shares of which the number of shares is only 25 lakhs, which is quite less. Now, apart from this 25 lakhs, if you see another very important parameter, that is promoter holding. So out of this 25 lakhs, promoter holding is 60%. Now, this is again a very important consideration. So if you do the calculation or if you do the maths, you will understand that major chunk is actually held by the promoter. So ideally, if you are talking about 12.5 lakh shares that is being held by the promoter. So if you look at the real picture, so out of 25 lakhs, if you see 60%, that is 15 lakh of shares, and 10 lakhs is only available with the public. So major chunk of the stock is already with the promoter, and only 10 lakh shares is what you see as the actual float. Now, because the actual float is quite less, the chances of stock, let's say if people don't sell it, the chances of the stock going down, it comes down drastically, because if you understand, people understand that there is a value in this stock, they will never sell it. I will give you an example of another such stock, and you will understand better. Let's say, look at this stock called as LCID Investment. Now, if you check LCID Investment, the current price is 8.66. It's a debt-free company. The current market cap of this company is 0.17 CR, that is 17 lakhs only. But if you understand, on this 17 lakhs, the most important point is company makes a net profit of 38 crores. So only on MCAP of 17 lakhs, let's say anybody, I think all of us might have 17 lakhs, we can buy this company. But the point is it available? You hardly get this company. Like if you try, even if you leave the order for last so many years, there is a very rare chance that you will get this company. So getting this company at a price of 8.66 will be way too much, because if you understand the mechanics and if you go to the company's website, you will understand this company is available at a much cheaper cost. Now, let's say even if by chance, by mistake, or like somebody sells this share and you get this share, you will be shocked. The company is willing to buy this share at a price of 11,455 rupees. So if you get this share at a price of 8.66, 8 rupees 66 paisa, you can sell it immediately to the company. Company is ready to do the buyback and they are willing to buy it. In fact, if you go to the any physical form share repurchaser, he's willing to buy this stock at a price of 25,000 rupees. So it is ultra cheap. The only problem is people, those who have it, they are not willing to sell it. So you don't get it. So let's say if I show you LSID investment, you will understand this picture better. So let's say if I show you LSID, just give me 1 second. Let me pull up LSID investment. Okay, so this is LSID investment. As you can see on my screen, see the stock got traded on 8th of April. So it is around a month back that stock was traded. Just give me a second, please. Okay. And because see, last time when it got traded, it was at like the quantity was 800 only. But somebody, a lucky one who would have got this 800 shares, they have made a fortune to themselves, because this 800 shares they can sell in the market at a price of 25,000 rupees. So, like, you can understand there is a lot of value, but it is not available in the market. So the point is, at times you see certain shares and you find them that they are quite attractive, but unfortunately they are not available because of low float. Similarly, when I come to NBI, as you can see, total 25 lakh shares are there. Out of 25 lakhs, 60% of the shares are with the promoter. So 15 lakh shares are with the promoter, and only 10 lakh shares are available to the public. And because only 10 lakh shares are available, so the volume is less. Now, this is a blessing in disguise, because sometimes, having too much of volume on a stock is not good. So if you have less volume, that is not bad. And NVI is exactly in that category. So coming back to the case, as you can see, point number one, and my point is very clear. So in totality, if you understand, you will see a very simple picture that this particular company, NBI Industrial Finance, because it has low float, and because of this low float, less number of shares are available. And if you see, total number of shares which are there in the market is 24 lakhs 56,806 to be precise. Now, how do I get to this figure? This is because, like when I was writing this case in 2017, company had 12 lakhs shares available, but because of the split, it had a split on 8th December 2017. It increased to 24 lakhs 56,806 shares. Now, out of this 60% shares, which is 14 lakhs 74,084 shares, are with the promoter. So the remaining shares that we see, it is available with the general public, which is 9 lakh 82,000 shares. Now, this 9 lakh 82,000 shares that I see, it is something which is giving me a great sense of understanding that, assume if these people tend to hold these shares and they don't sell this, what will happen? Automatically, the stock price will move up. So it will move up and it will give you a good price in future. Reason being, because it is not available. But the condition is this share undervalued? So what we need to understand, the second point is understanding the cash bargain. So is it undervalued? Can we buy this share? Now, suppose, imagine, like, for example, if you buy something which is worth 10 lakh rupees, let's say you buy a house or you buy a land, and obviously, if you pay that much price, you are getting the same value. You're not getting more than 10 lakh rupees. Or even if you buy a mutual fund today, you will not get more than 10 lakh rupees. So the idea is, if you want to ensure that you buy something cheap and it is worth much more than 10 lakhs, that means there is a value. So imagine if you have a wallet which is worth more than 10 lakh rupees and you are getting that wallet at 10 lakh rupees. So I'm sure it is beneficial to buy that wallet. Imagine a wallet which has a value of 30 lakh rupees or maybe 50 lakh rupees and you are getting that wallet at a price of 10 lakh rupees. So NBI is exactly into that same category. So if you look at this, what I did from the annual report, we pulled up their long-term investments. Now, if you check the long-term investments, as you can see on my screen, the long-term investments are in many shares. And some of the shares that you can see are blue chip companies, very good companies that we see. And one such company, like if you see all these companies, I'm reading the name like Agrotech, Bata India, Blue Dart, Bosch, Clarion Chemical, Colgate Palmolive, Escher Motors, Fossico, Glaxo, HDFC. I'm sure like all the names, Nestle, P&G, etc. All these names are of big companies. But one name which I want to highlight over here, that is of Shree Cement. Now, if you see, this company holds 8,49,450 shares of Shree Cement. And these are quoted investments, not unquoted investments. So as I can see the query, these are not unquoted investments, these are quoted investments. These are listed shares. So whether if you talk about HDFC, if you talk about Colgate Palmolive, if you talk about Shree Cement, these are all listed companies and they are getting traded in the market every day. So if you look at the quantity of Shree Cements, it is 8,49,450 shares. And what is more fascinating is the fact that look at the value. Now, if you see the value, this value is actually the original value that you see on the balance sheet, which means if I tell you the calculation, if you divide this, you will understand that they bought at a price of 28 point something, which is like if you see the live price of Shree Cement, let's say if I show you the price of Shree Cement today, so the price of Shree Cement is, let's say, let me just pull up the live price of Shree Cement. And this is Shree Cements. So if you check the price, today we can see a price of 18,512 on Shree Cements. So a stock which is right now available at 18,512, they have that same stock in their books, that to a quantity of 8,49,000 at a price of 28 rupees. So imagine the undervaluation that you have in the stock and imagine the scope that you can see in the stock. So as I am showing you on the screen, check 8,49,450 shares are available. And if I show you the basics of this, we calculated, like at the time of writing this case study, what we did, we calculated the original price. And at that point in time, like if you check Shree Cements, now this is the calculation, 8,49,450 shares. And we divide by the value, we get 28.20. And when I was writing this case study, price of Shree Cement was 17,847. So there is a massive undervaluation. And if you convert this, so the most important point is, let's say if you check the value at which they bought, historical value, it is 2 crores. And if you check the value now, and you will understand the value right now is much bigger than what they bought. Like at that point in time, it was peanuts. But today, if you check this value, it is way beyond one's understanding. And this stock is quoting at massive undervaluation. So how did I obtain this figure of 28.20? So in order to obtain this figure of 28.20, what you need to understand, you need to divide this. So you need to divide this value divided by the number of outstanding shares, you will get 28.20. Now, this is the original purchase price. Current price at the time of writing the case study, today it is 18,500, but at the time of writing the case study, it is 17,847. So we multiplied by the number of outstanding shares and we get the value. So I hope you are understanding that in terms of value, right now, only Shree Cements is worth 1,516 crores. Yes, I am right. It is 1,516 crores. And what is even more important is the fact I want to highlight again is if you look at a broader picture. So if I show you, let's say NBI again on my screen, you will see. So if you check, the market capitalization of this company is only 324 crores. That means you are getting a wallet in which the value of a single share is worth 1516 crores, and the whole company is available only at a price of 324 crores. So you can understand the massive undervaluation which is available in Shree Cement stock. And that is something which is driving me to buy this stock and buy this stock on every dip. Yes, sometimes stocks might take time to outperform. They might, just make you keep waiting for maybe years and years to come. But whenever they unlock a good potential and you can make good money in these stocks. So if you can see and you can understand, one thing is very clear. The value of the wallet which is available, that is 1516 crores. And right now the market capitalization of this company is 324 crores. Now coming back to the case study, as you can see, if I combine all the shares that it has, so if you see the total, it is 1583 crores. Now imagine we have a total of 1583 crores, and out of which, if you see, Shree Cement holds 95% weightage. So out of this 1583 crores, 95% weightage is to Shree Cement. And why it is 95%, let me also brief you about this. You must have heard this name like Bangar Cement. So this is a promoter company, a original group company or a holding company of Shree Cement. And that is why majority of the shares that you see in the portfolio, that is held by NBI Finance, and it is available at such a rate that it is a lucrative rate. Let's say somebody wants to buy Shree Cement, and you feel that Shree Cement is an attractive stock. So instead of buying Shree Cement, I will always prefer that you should go ahead and buy NBI Finance, because that will give you more value and that will help you to make more money in future. Now, going by some valuation and going by some statistics, let me just help you with some simple statistics. Now, let's say based on the valuation of Shree Cement stock alone, NBI should have a value of 6170. Now you must be thinking, how did I get this value? Now, as you noticed in the above calculation in the Excel sheet that we shared, if you see 21 number, that is Shree Cement, NBI Industrial Finance has 8,49,450 shares at a current price of that time. It is 17,847, which comes out to be 1,516 crores. Now, if I divide 1,516 crores with the number of outstanding shares, so what I have done over here, only on the basis of Shree Cement, I have taken the value of Shree Cement from NBI balance sheet, and it is coming out to be 1,516 crores. I have divided this by total number of outstanding shares. So if you check the balance sheet, the current number of outstanding shares that is available in market, that is 24,56,806. So if I divide this, I get a value of 6170. And I'm sure like you must be saying, wow, because this stock is available at ultra cheap valuation. So I'm sure that can give you a good amount of understanding that what is the availability. Only on the basis of Shree Cement, this stock is worth more than 6,000 rupees, and currently in the market it is quoting at 1,300 rupees, which is giving you a good value buy. Because let's say if something is available at 1,300 rupees, and in market it is trading at 1,300 rupees, you can see it is nearly 4.74 times. So if you divide 6170 by 1,300 rupees, you will get the value of 4.74. That means you can see an upside of 474%. So if I simply do the math, I understand that there is a gross undervaluation. Now, another very important parameter with this particular company is, let's say if I tend to be a conservative and I feel that fair enough, the stock may not go to 6170. Most people say that holding company tends to trade at a discount. So even if I make it 50%, still I see a lot of value in Shree Cement, and I see a lot of value in NBI Finance. Because going forward, let's say if you understand the valuation of Shree Cement also, there is a lot of scope in Shree Cement. And because there is a lot of scope in Shree Cement, that makes lot of scope in NBI Finance. So there is no harm as far as buying the stock is concerned. It's a multi-bagger for future. The only point is, yes, patience is required with this particular stock, and you're buying a quality stock. And even with this current downfall, the stock is not willing to come down. So the best part is, if you see, like I bought the stock at a price of 1100 rupees, 1150 rupees, and even from that price, it is not coming down. So it's not going down. The only point is, because there is a lot of valuation. In fact, most of the stocks that you see in the market right now, they have gone down way below their price. Even like 10-year price have reached, and they have actually broken all their channel, all their structures. But this stock is holding up because of the presence of Shree Cement and the quality that it has, plus the valuation it has. And that is the reason why I am willing to buy this stock on every dip. Now, I have a question here. So, sir, it's a kind of positive relation with the Shree Cement. Yes, it is positively related with Shree Cement. If let's say in future Shree Cement stock tends to go to 30,000 rupees, nobody can stop NBI Finance. It has to rise. So because there is a major chunk of shares which is available at the balance sheet, and why to buy Shree Cement? Why not to buy NBI? Because it is available at 1/5. So I will always prefer to buy something like NBI Finance rather than going for Shree Cement, because automatically, if Shree Cement will perform, definitely NBI will perform. So it is positively correlated, yes. Now, another thing, let's say if I take the complete value of the portfolio, which is, let's say if I do the valuation as per 1583 crores, you will get the price of 6444. So as you can see, like over here, if I take the total value 1583 crores, and if I divide this, that means then the price of the stock should be 6444. That means there is again a massive undervaluation, a discount which is available. And when I was writing this case study, and if you see this, there's a discount of 4.82%, or it's like 482%. So 4.82x, and that's a massive discount. So you're getting a stock at a way too below the market price, and there is a huge potential for the stock to go upside. Again, if you think like Charlie Munger, and he focuses too much on backward thinking, and it's more about understanding if you would have bought this stock some time back, what would have happened. So if you go as per the thinking of Charlie Munger, the backward thinking model, and let's say somebody says that a Shree Cement stock which was quoting at 17,847 rupees, and let's say the current price is 1,300 odd rupees, and the value is 6444. So even if I do the mathematics, and if I check the price, I should be able to get a price of now 3702. Now what is this price? This price is, let's say if I assume that keeping in mind Shree Cement current price and the Shree Cement actual price, and if I take that valuation into consideration, I get 3702, which is like the minimum price I should be able to target on Shree Cement, or the on sorry, on NBI Finance, which means even if I become ultra conservative, and I understand that as per the current mathematics, if 18,000 worth rupees stock, if I have to buy Shree Cement, or let's say if Shree Cement is quoting at 3,700 rupees, I am sure many people will actually jump in and they will buy the stock. So what I'm trying to say, let's try to understand in the current scenario. I think some people are not able to understand this point. Just to make you understand this point better, let's do the live calculation. So if you see now, Shree Cement stock is available at 512 rupees. And if you have to do the live calculation, so what I'm trying to say, let's say if you have the notepads or the calculators, what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to make your calculations very simple. Let's multiply, like let's say 18,512 rupees, multiply that, and multiply that by the current price, which is 1305 on NBI Finance, and divide by the actual undervalued price, which is 6444. So the price that you will get for Shree Cement, that comes out to be 3748. And let me show you that, so that I hope that is visible on my screen. So I think you can check on my screen, that is visible, that it is coming out to be 3748, which means a stock like Shree Cement is available at a deep discount. And yes, most holding companies are available at deep discount. But understand, like as far as my experience is concerned, what I have seen, most of these companies that we see, holding companies, they are available at cheap discount, but these companies tend to come at least up to 50%. And in bull market, they even go beyond 100%. There are a lot of stocks in which we booked profit in 2017 and 18, understanding this gross undervaluation. So we bought a stock called as Naga Dhunteri, and I'm sure many Profit Idea students will remember. Like we bought it at 600 rupees, and I think within a matter of 2.5 months, 3 months, we sold that stock at a price of 1700 and 1800 rupees, even though it touched the high of nearly 2100 rupees. So the point is, it went way beyond uh, what we actually imagined, and it was more than 100%. So it's not necessary that if I'm saying that price of NBI Finance will go only up to 6,444, it might go even above that. So it's uh, right now it is quoting at discount, and most holding companies are quoting at discount. But sooner or later, there comes a point when most of these holding companies, they actually outperform, and they even go above their price. And that is the time when you have to sell these shares and you have to come out, because the moment it goes, let's say right now I see that suddenly the price of NBI goes up and it reaches 6,444. I will prefer to sell. Now, I can see that some of the students are asking me to repeat this calculation. I repeat again, and let me show you the calculation. What are the calculations that I am referring to? So let's say I repeat my calculation. The current price of Shree Cement is 18,512, and I think all of you are clear with this. Now, the current price of NBI. So multiply the price of Shree Cement, multiply that with the price of current NBI, and divide by the expected price of NBI as per Shree Cement. So what I am trying to say, I am trying to say that as per the valuation, as per the case, if I combine all the shares, as you can see on my Excel sheet, these are all the shares which NBI holds. So as per all these shares, the value of total stock that they have in their balance sheet is 1583 crores. Now, this 1583 crores, if I divide 1583 crores by number of outstanding shares that NBI has in its balance sheet, so the figure comes out to be 6,444. Now, if I multiply the price of Shree Cement, if I multiply the price of NBI Finance and divide by this actual price of 6,444, so I get a new price of Shree Cement. It is like, what I'm trying to say, that a stock which is worth 18,512 rupees in market right now, you are getting the same stock at a price of 3,748, which is ultra cheap. So I am sure, let's say all of the sudden tomorrow you see Shree Cement is quoting at 3,748. I am sure, like most of the fundamental analysts and most of the people, those who understand cement business and Shree Cement, they will jump in to buy at such a lucrative price, because this price will not sustain. They understand that the price is 18,000 something, and all of the sudden they see in the market it is quoting at 3,748. So most people will jump in and buy these stocks. So it's like, what I'm trying to say, that instead of buying Shree Cement, why not to buy a stock like NBI Finance, which is giving you a value of Shree Cement equivalent to 3,748. So it's like, instead of buying Shree Cement at 18,512 rupees, you are buying indirectly into Shree Cement at 3,748. So it's like, at times you must have seen, let's say if you buy company B, which is costing you 18,000 rupees, why not to indirectly buy company C, which is actually holding a lot of shares of company B at a much cheap, and it is quoting at much cheaper price. So I'm preferring to buy a holding company which is having 95% value of Shree Cement, and it is quoting at a price which is much lesser than actual Shree Cement. So why not to go ahead and buy NBI Finance rather than buying Shree Cement? So I hope you got this point, and I hope my point is clear. So I have another doubt over here. Uh, Sir, I have a doubt, as we can see that still NBI holds 37 shares of great value, but the price of NBI is not according to the value, uh, and it's holding. So how can we say that it will reflect in the future price? Yes. Okay. See, Saksham, as I can see at this particular price, and I have another query, sir. How this price of 6,444 came? Okay. Let me answer both these questions. First of all, uh, let's say if you understand, total value as per the Excel sheet is 1583 crores. If I divide this by, let's say, 0.24, and it was, let's say, precise number of shares was 0.2456. So I hope you can understand how did I get the price, how this 6444 came. What we need to do, as per my Excel sheet, if you see, total value of the shares was 1583 crores. So if I divide 1583 crores by number of outstanding shares, now number of outstanding shares of NBI Finance was 0.245, that is 24 lakhs 56,806. So if I divide this by 0.24806, I get this price of 6444. So I hope this is clear. So I got this query from multiple people, sir, how 6444 came. So I hope Gaurav, Akash, and Yash, all those people those who were having this query, how this value of 6444 came, that is clear. Okay, and I can see another share. Akash, we will surely discuss Bombay Burma and all these companies later on. Let's stick to today's topic of NBI Finance. These companies are of great value. Bombay Burma is again a good company. Yes, it holds shares of Britannia coffee companies as well. So it's not a bad company. And I leave that up to you, like to analyze some of these businesses. Some of the holding companies are very good companies. And if you have seen their past prices, when they move very fast, and they tend to generate a lot of wealth for the people, those who hold them. So it's about understand. Like recently, I am accumulating one stock. I can share that with all of you, and I have posted that on Twitter also. We are accumulating a stock called as Bajaj Holding. I'm quite bullish on Bajaj Holding, and it is available at ultra cheap valuation. So at a price of 1800, 1900 rupees, and even like recently it went up to 1600 also. Like every dip is good. So if you have a probably time horizon of 5 to 10 years, I will say Bajaj Holding is another such stock that you should look to buy. It's a very good stock. You are getting the majority of the Bajaj shares at an ultra cheap valuation, zero debt company, beautiful valuations. If you analyze analyze Bajaj Holding, you will understand it is a stock which is worth much more, and you are getting that stock at a price which is way below. So I hope the queries on 6444 is clear, and I hope even this calculation that I'm trying to show, that why it is better to buy NBI rather than to buy Shree Cement, that is also clear. Okay, now moving forward. So okay, I can see yes. Let's move forward and let's understand the third point. Let's say very simple, in a very simple manner. A lot of people say that, sir, I am doing SIP with so and so company, whichever company that you prefer. So I'm sure like most of you must have bought some mutual fund or the other, or you must be doing SIPs into ELSS fund or something like that to save tax and to ensure that okay, you don't lose your capital, and you have a long term view and you want to invest some money. And some people do SIP of 500 rupees, some do for 20,000 rupees, whatever the amount is. So you must be doing that in order to ensure that you have a long-term portfolio. Now, my question to all of you: imagine if you invest 1,000 rupees monthly in a mutual fund, you get units worth rupees 1,000 only. So let's say the NAV of a fund is 10 rupees, and you have invested 1,000 rupees. So you are only getting 100 units of that particular mutual fund. But over here, let's say if you buy stocks of NBI Finance, which is a holding company of multiple asset classes, the best part is you are getting the value which is much more than 1,000 rupees. So the 1,000 that you are investing here, you are actually not, you are investing 1,000, but you are getting the value of approximately 4.8. That means it is becoming 4.8 instantly. So the good part is you are buying something which is undervalued, you are buying something which is cheap, and you know instantly that you have bought an asset class which is valued at 4,800 rupees, but you have bought that thing at a price of only 1,000 rupees. And that is why, that is the major difference which I want all of you to understand, that when you buy a mutual fund and when you buy a holding company, if you have an objective of long term, holding company will pay you off much more than a mutual fund if you buy good holding company stocks. Like some of my favorite stocks, like as I have most like mentioned, like Bajaj Holding is one of my favorite stocks. Vardhan Holding is one stock that has given me a lot of money, and I'm very keen and buying this stock on every day. Similarly, if you see Naga Dhunseri, we have already booked profit. This is the stock which went multiple times. Dhunseri investment, we bought it at 125, stock went up to 562. We sold some stake. Again, I have started purchasing Dhunseri investment. It is good on all dips, a stock which is worth holding. So what you need to understand is you need to cherry pick some quality company which has a worth or a potential much more than that you see on the face value of it. And these are the stocks that can give you a huge potential in future. But the only point is you must have a holding horizon that yes, I want to hold this stock. So I hope you got the understanding. You have a very clear understanding of why I prefer buying a holding company than to buy something like a mutual fund. I can give you another example. Let's say somebody says, sir, I like Tata's fund, and you might want to buy any of the Tata's mutual funds which are available in the market. Why not to go and opt for this company called as Tata Investment? Just check, and let me show you this company, Tata Investment. This is again a company which we recommended. Stock, it is trading at a valuation which is higher than the current valuation. Let me show you Tata Investments. Just 1 second. Give me a second, please. Let me see why I'm not able to use my keypad here. Okay, so why industrial finance is not a dividend paying company? It's not necessary that a company should pay a dividend. Like if you see somebody like Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, they have never paid dividend and they don't believe in paying dividend. So it's not necessary that a company should pay dividend or they should give bonus or they should do stock split. Berkshire is a prime example. They have never done it and they don't even believe that they should give that. So it's fine if a company is not giving a dividend. I think that is acceptable. So I was showing you Tata Investment. What is the problem that I see here? Let me see if I can. Okay, Tata. Okay, this is the Tata Investment stock. So if you see the stock price, Tata Investments, it is 698 rupees. And if you like, I will prefer 100 times to buy Tata Investment than to buy mutual funds of Tata. And let me show you why. Let's say I'm showing you NBI. Definitely NBI being 324 crore company, and it has a quoted investments of right now the value of the quoted investments is 1686 crores. That's huge. So this value is going up with time, and people ignoring this value. It's like you can't ignore this value because this company is very good. With all the parameters that you understand, this company has a lot of potential. Now, if I show you Tata Investment, you will see another very good observation with this company, and you will understand my point, like why I will not prefer to buy a mutual fund and why I will prefer to buy Tata Investment Corporation. Now, if you see a company like Tata Investment Corporation, let me make this standalone company. Now, the market cap of Tata Investment Corporation is 3597 crores. So, if you see the total company, the valuation of complete Tata Investment is 3597 crores. But if I show you the investment value as far as the balance sheets are concerned, just give me a second and let me pull up the annual report of Tata Investment to make you understand better. So let's say we have this Annual report of Tata Investment Corporation. Let's go to the notes. I'm going to page number 77 and let's check. And let me show you some very important figures in notes to accounts. So I want to highlight few things here which should be beneficial to all of you. Now, just see like fair value through other comprehensive income, quoted equity shares. Now, if you see quoted equity shares, it is like 31st 3 2019. As far as last year is concerned, it is 8015 crores. Yes, 8015 crores. And value of unquoted equity shares, that is 586 crores. Bonds and debentures, it is 595 crores. And if you see like fair value through profit and loss, that is 146 crores. Venture capital, nearly 10 crores. Unquoted equity shares at cost in subsidiary companies, that is 30 crores. In associate companies, that is 56 crores. So if you combine this value, you understand it is 9340 crores. Now, let me give you a very simple analysis, and this should make things pretty clear why at times something which is of great value quotes at such a decent price and it is available at ultra cheap valuation. Now, one of such reason is, let me just give you a clarity. See your queries. I will answer all your queries. Just give me 1 second. Let's say you are seeing Tata Investments here. This is 3597 crores. And I can see one question over here. Sir, why do they trade at such low valuation? See, the point is when they trade at such low valuation, that is where market is wrong. You need to pick up those stocks. And that is what Graham and Buffett says. When market makes blunder, sometimes, there are things which are available at ultra high valuation. Like last time when we were doing Jet Airways, I hope you remember, it was trading at ultra high valuation. In fact, I mentioned few stocks like Zeal Entertainment, IndusInd Bank, PVR, which I feel like in future these businesses can collapse. They can actually they are actually feeling the pain, and this coronavirus can bring much more companies, which can actually get into bankruptcy if situation don't improve. So what you need to understand, you need to see that at times market gives you valuation which is much above than what you would have thought, but you need to encash those valuation, and you need to understand that yes, these are the valuations uh, which is favoring a stock. Why not to buy a stock when nobody wants to buy it? And that is why Warren Buffett always says that be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. So when market was at a high top, you need to be fearful that fair enough, tomorrow the stocks might fall. And right now, when market is going down, you must know selectively which businesses to buy and which businesses to avoid. So if you know which businesses to buy, you should always look to encash them, and always be ready with the cash that okay, whenever my price will come, I will buy it. So I always keep an eye on some of these stocks that I love to buy. I feel that yes, there is a lot of potential, and those are the stocks that give you immense profit in future. But you need to buy them at right time. So saying that why it is so low, that is like something like it is an opportunity. It is low because people are selling it. There are people those who don't realize the value that they have, but when they will realize it, you will never get those stocks. So it's always better to buy a stock when it is cheap. Now, what I'm trying to say with Tata Investment and why I'm trying to compare it, because a lot of funds are available of Tata's in the market. And let me give you a very simple phenomenon, like very simple picture. As we have seen in the annual report, the total value of the investments that Tata's have, that is 9340 crores. And if I divide by number of outstanding shares, so you can see, if let's say if you have nearly 3600 crores in your pocket, you can buy the entire Tata investment. But let me show you the number of outstanding shares. The number of outstanding shares available with the company is 5.06. And see, Tatas are holding, like as a promoter, they are holding 73.38%. So why are they holding so much of stock? Because they believe that this company has a lot of potential. And let me show you the calculation. if I divide 9340 crores by 5.06 crores, I get a value of 1845. That means a stock which is trading right now at 698 Tata Investment, the actual value of this stock is 1845 rupees. So it is still trading at a much cheaper rate than what it should trade. The actual value of Tata Investment Corporation should be 1845. So why should I go ahead and buy Tata Mutual Fund? All the mutual funds are with Tata Investment. So instead of buying a mutual fund of Tata, I can directly go and buy Tata Investment Corporation. And anyways, I'm the owner of those mutual funds. So it's like instead of buying a unit of a particular mutual fund, why not to buy a Tata Investment Corporation? Because that will give me a right to buy a stock at a price of 1845, and that's way below like what I was expecting. So if I invest 1,000 rupees in a Tata mutual fund, I get value of 1,000 rupees. But if I invest 1,000 rupees in Tata Investment Corporation, I am getting a value of 1845, which we just calculated, divided by the current price, which is 698. So I'm getting a value of 2,600 rupees. So that is 2.64 times higher. So why not to buy a stock like Tata Investment Corporation rather than buy from something else? Okay, I can see one query that, sir, we can calculate intrinsic value using various methods. Yes, there are a lot of methods through which you can calculate intrinsic value. Some of the students have already done the 6-sheet parameter that we prepare. So we calculate intrinsic value using ERP model, which is expected return model. We calculate the intrinsic value using Benjamin Graham valuation, which is worked out through Graham valuation. We do DCF valuation, and we also practice Dhando IV, which is Monish Prabhai model for calculating intrinsic value. We have calculated intrinsic value using different parameters, and one of those parameters is a very common dividend approach. So understanding the dividend of the company, we even calculate intrinsic value using Gordon models. We can calculate intrinsic value using FCFE or FCFF model. So all these models are applied, and then we try to merge those models and see the intrinsic value and average intrinsic value. So some of the students, those who have done Hero Sheet or Hindustan Unilever that we did recently, so I'm sure you understand that how to calculate those intrinsic value using various parameters. So yes, there are multiple parameters through which we can calculate the value of a stock, and I'm sure like those who have done it, they understand it. Those who have not done it, maybe sometime later we will definitely talk about how to calculate intrinsic value using different parameters. Now, moving forward, you can see another query. Sir, the intrinsic value from the model always come different. Yes, that is why I just mentioned that you need to focus on average of intrinsic value. So let's say you have applied an ERP model and you see an intrinsic value of 1,000 rupees. You applied FCFE and you see a value of 900 rupees. You applied another model that shows a value of 1,400 rupees. So it's all right. What you need to do, like what I normally do, I take the average of all the models, so I get a average price. So normally it's like the law of averages. So law of averages brings closer to reality. So by applying different models, we actually come to a conclusive average figure, and I take that average figure. So that gives me a more accurate picture than taking a single model. So I don't believe in taking only, let's say, FCFE or maybe only a TVM sheet. It's better that you take multiple models and you arrive at a clear picture. So averages gives you a much better picture than taking only a single model valuation. So that is my criteria of understanding or taking up the intrinsic value. Now, coming back to NVI, I hope my this point that I was trying to explain all of you, this is clear that instead of buying a mutual fund, I will prefer buying a holding company. And I hope all of you got the clarity on this. Now, similarly, let's move to another point, that is the Graham value. And why do I focus on Graham value? What is something which is special with Graham value? And is Graham value really something that we can focus on here? See, Benjamin Graham was a professor at Columbia University and guru of Sir Warren Buffett. Like he's regarded as one of the greats as far as the investment industry is concerned, finance industry is concerned. Now, Graham valuation or the fundamentals of Graham is followed worldwide. He's regarded as the father of value investing, and he always talked about that when you have to buy a stock, always try to buy a stock which has a value much lower than what it should quote. So he always focused on buying stocks, or probably, it's like he quoted, if you read the book, The Intelligent Investor, he quotes that you should buy stocks like ladies buy the groceries, not how they buy the perfumes. Because when they go to buy the perfumes, they are willing to pay any price. But when they go to buy groceries, they are willing to, negotiate with all the sabji walas and all the vendors that we want this discount, we want this discount. So even for 5 rupees, they are willing to negotiate a lot with a sabji wala or with a normal fruit seller so that they can get the discount. But what you need to understand, he has a very valid point. You should always negotiate with market when you buy these stocks. Always buy stocks which are cheaper in the market rather than buy stocks which are fancy looking stocks quoting at very high valuation. So you must always consider, when you buy the stock, you should consider PE, you should consider its EPS, you should consider the price to book value when you buy the stock. And that is what comes from his approach. So one of such approach is Graham value, and this is the formula of calculating Graham value. So why this 22.5? So let me give you the bifurcation of this 22.5. This 22.5 comes from two parameters. He always mentioned that whenever you have to pick a stock, you should try to pick up stocks which has a book value of 1.5 or less. So let's say a stock has a book value of 1.5 or price to book value of 1.5 or less. That means that is something which will get fit into the Graham's criteria. Another criteria that he mentioned was price to earning. So he focused on price to earning of 15 or less. So how did he arrive at 22.5? So in this formula that you see, 22.5, this 22.5 has two components. One component that I'm trying to focus here is that is P, 15. So he always focused on PE of 15 or less multiplied by book value of 1.5. So you get this figure of 22.5. So I repeat, price to earning multiple of 15 or less and price to book value of 1.5 or less. So his focus was entirely on making sure that first the stock is a quality stock, and after checking all the due diligences, that it's a debt-free company, valuation is good, promoter stake is good, and all those parameters. Once he's satisfied with those parameters, then he comes to the quantitative parameters, understanding that if the price to book value or price to earning, both, like price to earning is less than 15 or equal to 15, price to book value equal to 1.5 or less, so the total is 22.5. If this parameter is met, multiply that by earning per share, that is EPS. And I hope you understand what is PE, because like as far as my experience goes, I have seen many people have a misunderstanding of what PE is. Price to earning is something like in terms of what you are investing, what you get. So for example, let's say somebody buys a property which is worth 1 crore, and you get a rental of let's say 1 lakh rupees per month. That means your earning yield on the property is 12%. So if your earning yield on the property is 12%, so you simply divide that by 1 CR. So if you divide, like, let's say if you divide 1 crore by 12, you will get a figure. You will understand that somewhere around 8 is the PE multiple. So if I make the math simple, let's say you have a property which is worth 1 crore. You are getting yearly rental income of 10 lakh rupees. So your PE simply comes out to be 10. And I hope that makes sense. So you understand. So on a property of 1 crore, you are actually generating 10 lakh rupees. So your PE multiple is 10. That means for every 10 rupees that you are investing, you are generating 1 rupee. So I hope understanding on the PE is clear. Second part that you need to focus on is price to book value. Now, what is price to book value? The price of the stock which is quoting right now, and the book value of the share. Now, at times, like there are stocks in which the value as far as the books are concerned is much higher. So we always prefer a stock should not trade more than 1.5 times the book value. So let's say the book value of a stock is 100 rupees, and if it is quoting at 150 rupees, that is all right. We can say that okay, it's a stock which is worth holding, and we can proceed with the stock. Now, high PE is good and low PE or low PE. High PE means either, and okay, this is a question that I see on my screen. See, what we need to understand, high PE is good. So sometimes, let's say, if you go and buy a stock like Hindustan Unilever, which again, like you always see, I'm a perma bull on Hindustan Unilever. I always feel that a lot of people right now in the market are talking about it trading at 70 PE, and should we buy it? So my point is, it's a stock which is very good as far as long-term earnings are concerned. So a lot of people are concerned with Hindustan Unilever PE, and yes, it can correct. I'm not saying it cannot correct. Recently in the class, we were doing the valuation of Hindustan Unilever, and we came to a price of 1700 rupees. So yes, it might come to 1700 rupees, or it might, in worst case scenario, we were eyeing a stock of Hindustan Unilever as 1200 rupees. So yes, 1700 and 1200 price might come, but those figures that we have arrived, if let's say these prices you see on the screen, I'm sure it will be a very good buy. You should go ahead and grab Hindustan Unilever. So it's not a bad buy at all. So yes, at times high PE stocks you have to buy because they're growing at a much faster pace than you imagine. So it's because some of the FMCG companies that you see in India, it is growing at much rapid pace. So obviously you have to pay a higher price. Let's say somebody today, let's say goes want to buy a technology company, or let me come to a very simple recent point. Let's say a pharma company which makes a medicine or vaccine for COVID-19. Trust me, the price will, the company which will make the first vaccine and it is approved, trust me, the share price will go off the roof. It will simply jump, and it will keep on increasing every day, and the valuation will be far ahead of what you will think. So you might feel, uh, just few days back, sir, this stock was available at 800 rupees or 1000 rupees. Now it is quoting at 2000 rupees. Trust me, even at 2000 rupees that stock will be cheap, and suddenly everybody will see the PE will rise. But trust me, that PE will be cheap because the future earnings of the company will be much higher. So sometimes what happens, that you are seeing the PE high because of the earnings of previous year. But in the financial year, companies, they tend to have sales which is much higher, and PE rises, but results comes later. And because of which, and that is the reason why many people they focus on forward PE. So at times a stock might be trading at a higher PE as far as the previous year earnings are concerned, but that same stock might be available at a low PE because of the forward earnings. So let's say a company was doing sales of 100 crores, and all of the sudden in this financial year it does a sales of 500 crores. So automatically, when you will see the figures once the results are out, the PE will fall drastically. But currently, because you are calculating the PE as per 100 CR, so the PE is much more. So I hope the logic you need to understand and you need to focus on is forward PE. So sometimes a company might seem expensive as far as current PE is concerned, but if you check the forward PE, it is much cheaper. So that is a criteria that you have to keep in mind. Of course, not all low PE stocks are good, not all high PE stocks are good. So saying that high PE is always good or low PE is always good, that is something which we cannot say. Yes, we have to keep multiple parameters in mind before selecting a PE stock. Now, sir, can you please explain more on book value? Yes, I can explain more on book value. See, book value, how to calculate book value. Let's say आज आपको इसकी book value निकालनी है and you want to calculate, you want to understand that what should be the book value of NBI Finance or maybe any XYZ company. It is very simple. Let's say, let me go back to Srina.in, and on this particular website, let's say again, I'm typing NBI Finance. Okay. So as you can see on my screen, NBI Finance is available. So if I have to calculate this book value of 6974, it is very simple. You can easily calculate it. Book value is shareholder funds. So I hope you understand what is shareholder fund. Share capital plus reserves. So if you add, so let's say if I want to calculate this book value of 6974, I am going down. And let's say if I go down to calculate the book value, here it is. Okay. I hope all of you can see the balance sheet. The share capital of NBI is 1.23 and the reserves are 17.12 or 1712 crores. If I add both of them, so let's say if I do the calculations, let's say 1.23 plus 1712 crores, all these figures are in crores, 0.09 divided by number of outstanding shares, that is 2456806. So see, I get the book value, which is nearly 6,900 rupees, and this is the book value that we are getting here, 6974. And check on my screen that I have calculated live for you, 6973.77. They have rounded this off, so it is 6974. So I hope yes, your query is clear. Now you understand what is book value. Book value is share capital plus reserves divided by number of outstanding shares, and that is how you calculate book value. So I hope your query regarding the calculation of book value and sir what book value is, that is clear. Sir, what are the ideal levels for sector PE and sector PB? Now, see Akash and Ashish, the question that you have asked, ideal levels, like normally we prefer between 10 to 15, and the price to book value between 1.5 to 2.5. But yes, again, it's a very subjective question. It depends upon stock to stock, sector to sector. So saying that this is ideal for this industry may not be ideal for another industry. So something which is ideal for automobile, it may not be ideal for pharma. It may not be ideal for let's say FMCG sector. So yes, that will depend, and it depends sector to sector. So we cannot say that it is good. Another query that we have, sir, can we check forward PE? Yes, you can check forward PE. In fact, you can calculate forward PE. So how can you calculate forward PE? If you inculcate the earnings of the company as far as the current quarter results are concerned, and if you add them up and you divide by number of outstanding shares, you will understand, okay, this is the current EPS of the company, and you can calculate the current PE. And how to interpret ROE and ROCE? See, what is ROE? That is return on equity. So the return on equity is purely the money that the company is making on the equity. So let's say a company which has 60% equity, 40% debt. So what is the amount that they have generated after paying back to the debt holders? So you have to pay interest to the debt holders. After paying back to the debt holders, what is the return that the equity shareholders are generating? That is ROE. And return on capital employed is like, again, like what you need to see over here is the actual capital that the company has employed. So as I said, once you have paid back to your debt holders all the interest burden that you have paid off, what is the money which is left, and what is the return that you are generating on that money? Now, how to interpret it? Higher it is, the better it is. Lower it is not good for the company. So you always prefer a higher ROE and higher ROCE in order to ensure that the company has high margin of safety and it is a stock which is available, which is making good money. And let's say if that stock is available at less value, why not to buy it? And another question that I have over here, price to book value is, okay, what is the difference between price to book value and book value? Okay, see, very simple question. This is a book value which is 6974, and this is the current price which is 1319. So if I have to calculate price to book value, I have to divide current price divided by book value. That is price to book value. Now, if I have to, let's say, see book value, this is only book value. So this is a difference. So we cannot say price to book value and book value is same. This is book value, which is 6974. Price to book value is price divided by book value. That is price to book value. So I hope your query is clear. Okay. So we can move ahead. And I hope you got this basic understanding. Now, so I hope this figure of 22.5 is clear. And I hope all of you know how to calculate EPS, earning per share. So PAT divided by number of outstanding shares, you will get EPS. And then I just now told you how to calculate book value. If you multiply all this up, even by doing that calculation, gram value was 2575. And if I show you the current gram value, now let me show you the current gram value, which is available here. So if you check the current gram value of NBI Industrial Finance, let me show you the gram value. It is, I have this in front of my screen. Let me, where did I miss? Okay, as you can see on my screen, the current gram value is 1843. So if you have to calculate the current gram value also, that is 1843 rupees, and still it is the current price of the stock is much below that. So it is 1300 odd rupees, and you can see the gram value of 1843 rupees. So you're getting the stock still at a cheaper valuation. And if I see how cheap, so you can simply calculate this. Let's say if I say 1305 rupees is the current price and 1843 is the price that you see. So you can see like technically you're getting a stock at a discount of nearly 30%. So why not to buy it? And you can see a good upside in the future to come. And this is the minimum value that Graham targets. He says that if a stock is quoting below Graham value, and if the fundamental parameters, the other parameters are saying that they are all good, you can go ahead and buy the stock. And in future, you can see the appreciation. So I hope even the calculation of gram value is clear. When I was doing it at that time, particular point in time, it was 2575. Right now it is 1800, but whatever, like 1800 or 2500, it does not make a difference. As far as it is undervalued, it's a good stock to buy. Another thing, last time also, and I have spoken about this many a time, understanding Altman Z score. Now, if you see Altman Z score, I can see a lot of questions over here. Okay. Sir, price to free cash flow is negative. Again, a good point that you are trying to raise, that price to free cash flow in this particular company is negative, but what we need to understand in a holding company, that it is not having debt. So because it is not having debt and having a negative cash flow at times means that these companies have invested the amount in some particular stocks or maybe into physical assets, but because they do not have debt, so we are not so concerned about the cash flows, because many a time these companies have operating expenses, and they tend to hold their shares. So for example, let's say a holding company, which is like, as you can see in NBI, it is holding shares worth of around 1600 crores. And shares worth of 1600 crores, they feel that in this quarter or in this particular year, we do not want to sell the shares because we see more upside. So they may not want to sell Shree Cement shares, and they still want to hold it. And because they want to hold it, but in the process, they are incurring expenses. So throughout the year, they are incurring some expenses, because of which, or they are making some more investments, because of which their price or their cash flow is negative. But because they do not have any interest obligation, that does not make us very concerned about NBI balance sheet, because in spite of having negative cash flows, these negative cash flows are not because they have some interest burden to be cleared up, or they have some short term borrowings or long term borrowings, because they do not have debt. So we are not quite worried about negative cash flow. So I hope that answers your query and question. Okay, now coming back to Altman Z score. Now this is something that I have focused before also. Altman Z score below 2.6 is a concern, but in a company like NBI, and it is improving day by day, trust me, there is no concern. It is 685 when I was writing this case. And if you check right now, if I show you Altman Z score, let me show you the Altman Z score. It is 1770. So there is no risk of bankruptcy. Company is, it's a zero debt company. Financials are good. Company is making profit. There is no obligation that they have. They are holding their shares, and no chance of bankruptcy. So as far as this parameter is concerned, company is in a good sound condition. Financial condition is very good, and that is increasing the confidence as an investor that yes, we can stay invested with the company, or we can look to buy this company on dips. Another thing, understanding tax benefit. Most the other companies that you invest with, the biggest disadvantage of buying a mutual fund. So just some time back, I was focusing on a point. Mutual fund, most mutual fund, they suffer from capital gain distribution tax. Now reason being, recently, like if you have seen last month figures, many people have redeemed from mutual funds. And because they have redeemed from mutual fund, what happens, a mutual fund manager needs to sell the shares to pay back the money to the investors. And because they have to sell the shares, so let's say they must have bought a stock at a price of 100 rupees, and let's say somebody redeemed and the price was 105 rupees. And just because a fund manager has to sell that stock at 105 rupees, they have to pay taxes, because 5 rupees was the gain. And because they have to pay taxes on that, unfortunately, everybody has to bear the burden because the value of the overall NAV comes down. Now, in case of holding company, because shares are traded in the secondary market and the intent of the fund manager is to hold these stocks for long term, they can continue to do so because only the secondary in the secondary market shares will exchange. But as far as the stocks are concerned, they don't have to liquidate the stock. So the safety, which is very important, like recently Franklin, you must have seen that six of the debt schemes of Franklin have closed, and many people are concerned. I got a lot of queries, a lot of telephone phone from a lot of people. Sir, what will happen? Will we uh, get the money back, or is our money safe, and all that stuff? Now, understand the concern over here. People, those who never wanted to redeem, even they want to redeem from Franklin. So this type of a situation actually creates something which is known as bank run. So recently, you must have seen what has happened with Yes Bank, and just now I mentioned about IndusInd Bank. You know, if somebody asks me, "Sir, will you prefer to keep your money in IndusInd Bank?" I will say no. And let me tell you why. They have exposures in IRNFS, they have exposure to various corporates, and many corporates can default. And because the trust of the people, it is somehow like it is not as good as what it was maybe 6 months back. I will always prefer to avoid such banks. In fact, many people, those who ask me, sir, IndusInd Bank is ultra cheap at a price of 1200 rupees. I told them it is not cheap and it's better that we should wait. And it came down to 250 rupees. So the idea is what you need to understand, you need to see the long term picture. Sometimes a company is doing financially well. A bank like Yes Bank might be doing good. But the problem was when everybody starts withdrawing from the bank, because a lot of people, when this controversy of Yes Bank was going, many people withdrew their money from Yes Bank. Many corporate FDs were broken. And because even though bank had NPAs, bank had a lot of problems, those problems got aggravated because whatever profit that they had to make, even those profits vanished. So the balance sheet quality got eroded just because everybody started to withdraw the money from the bank, and all of the sudden whatever profits that they were anticipating, those profits are gone. Poof. So uh, I hope you get the understanding that because a holding company will not see such a situation, they will only see the shares getting exchanged. They will never see a situation like a bank run. So in adverse situation, when everybody starts to redeem, at least they can hold on to the assets, and because they have surplus cash, so they can actually take the benefit of that surplus cash when the time will come. And maybe a mutual fund may not be able to do so. So that these are the times when you can actually look to and catch the opportunity, and you can see that okay, this is the benefit of having a holding company, and they will also get a tax benefit. So how could we identify that bank has that much of exposure and to all world? See, it is available. If you check the annual report, one of the best source of information is annual report. So if you want to check the annual report of any bank, just go through that and read it. You will understand each and every point, because they have to disclose any listed bank. They have to disclose each and everything to their investors, and all their exposures are actually given. So if you check like I remember IMF's exposure with Yes Bank was 18,000 crores, and that was a big exposure that they had. So it's important that you keep in mind that okay, these are the exposures which are there with the corporate, and if a corporate go bust, obviously it's the bank which will take the hit. So never to invest with that particular corporate, and it's always better to take precautions. So let's say if I, as I said, because it's not that IndusInd is a bad bank, it's a very good bank, but the problem is uh, because such kind of situations can arise and they have exposures with companies which can default, their NPS can rise. So, and trust me, market is never wrong. If IndusInd is going down, a stock price which was trading at 2038 rupees, it came down to 400 rupees now, and it hit a low of I think 215 or 232 rupees. So what you need to understand that somewhere or somewhere or the other something is wrong. Like there is a saying that there is never a smoke without a fire. So what you need to understand that something is wrong. That's why the price is going down. Otherwise, the price would not have come from 2,000 rupees. Yes, from 2,000 rupees, it might have come down to 1,500 rupees or maybe 1,200 rupees. But a stock which was trading at 2000 rupees, it came down to 200 rupees. There is something wrong. 90% erosion on a stock price is signaling that all is not good. And because all is not well, that means there can be a huge pressure or major problems in future, and this stock price may go down even more. So it's always better to avoid such companies or such balance sheets where you see such kind of problems. Now, I have another question: how redemption from mutual fund company will make the company face tax related problems? Investment companies face tax benefits. See, let's say a mutual fund has 1,000 crores exposure, and all of a sudden everybody starts withdrawing. What will happen? They have to sell in the market, and because they have to sell in market, this loss will be borne by all the investors. It is, see, the fund, as a fund house or a fund manager, they understand that they bought a stock at 1,000 rupees price. Now it is quoting at 800 rupees, but because they see redemption pressure, unfortunately they have to sell at 800 rupees. And because they have to sell at 800 rupees, the NAV of the fund will go down, and all the investors in that particular fund will suffer. So that is the reason why it is better, because a holding company, they don't have such pressure. Let's say it is their price of the stock that will go down, but they don't have the pressure of redemption, because it is the money that they are holding in the books of accounts that they don't have to pay back. So uh, a stock like NBI, it is getting traded only in the secondary market, but the corpus of 1600 crores that they have, that corpus belongs to the company, and there is no pressure of redemption to them. But to mutual funds, multiple people have invested. Somebody have invested 50,000 rupees, somebody has invested 10 lakhs, 1 crore, whatever the amount is. So when they start redeeming, and when majority of the people start redeeming, you see the price of the particular stock or the particular mutual fund, all of a sudden they have to sell, and because of which a mutual fund is under pressure to actually redeem. And because they are under pressure to redeem, they have to sell the shares at much lower price than they would have sold. So probably 2 months later, 3 months later, they could have easily sold that same share which was quoting at 800 rupees at 1100 rupees in profit. But just because they were facing a pressure of investors to redeem, they have to sell it. They had no option but to sell it, and everybody suffers. So that is a major difference. And everybody actually sees capital losses, and that is something which you don't see as far as holding company is concerned. Okay, so I hope the tax benefit part is clear. Another thing, because they don't have to redeem and they don't have to sell early, they can actually avail the benefit of LTCG, long-term capital gain. Now, when I was writing this case, it was tax-free, but even now, if you keep these stocks more than 1 year, you pay only 10% taxes. Whereas if you are trading, you pay 30% taxes. If you are keeping for short-term delivery, you have to pay 15% taxes. So they get the benefit of tax as far as this particular point is concerned, and that is why I prefer a holding company than buying a mutual fund. So I hope my point is clear, and it helps you to understand better that why to actually go for or opt for a company like NBI Finance. Now, another thing, let's say understanding low PE supported by high earnings, and this is a point that I focus a lot as far as whenever I check the company. I have another question, like which is a better parameter, ROE and ROC? Both are very important parameters, but yes, you should give equal weightages and more weightage to ROCE, because as I said, return on capital employed also helps me to understand return of my capital. So return on capital and return of capital, both look similar, but they are not similar. So it's important that we look at return on capital employed. If that is good, that means chances of me getting my capital is much more. So why not to look for ROCE? So yes, both parameters are good, but ROCE gives me a more understanding of the return that we are generating on the capital employed. Okay, the seventh point, and a very important point, that is low PE supported by high earnings. Now, if you read my Jet Airways case clearly, I said many a times we are fooled by low PE, and yes, this is true. Sometimes you feel that the PE of a particular stock is quite low. Remember, if low PE is not supported by high earnings, then there is a problem. Now, in the case of Jet, the company was making losses. It was not supported by earnings, and they have unnecessary expenses, and even the crude oil prices was going up. But over here, it is not. This is a different situation altogether. The company is making profits. The company has a EPS of 328, and as you can see, the price was, when I was writing this, it was like 1336 rupees. So technically, if you check the, or if you see the understanding, it is quoting at a PE of 4. And if you see now, let me show you the PE right now. If you check the PE, this is, let me just, this is standalone balance sheet. Okay. It says that the current PE is 60. And that is because, let's say, let me just help you run through the figure. Now, see what is the difference. The difference is company has not booked profits. Now, in this company, if you see, there is hardly any expense. So expenses are not much. And the sale comes from selling stocks. So in 2017, they sold stocks. But in 2018, 2019, and 2020, they have not sold stocks of much greater value, only 5 crores, 8 crores, 6 crores. And because of which you see the net profit that is going down. But you must understand, because it's a holding company, it can pay, or it can, like, anytime, whenever they feel that market goes up, stocks are overvalued, they can sell stocks. So let's say they decide to sell again in one particular financial year, they decide to sell again 100 crores of, let's say, Shree Cement. So you will see all of the sudden this figure will jump. And what you need to understand, that this company has no problem as far as earnings are concerned, because they have a huge base. Plus, they're getting all this income from, like, most of majority of the income comes from dividend also. So dividend income is quite high in such companies. Plus, because their expenses are really low, they don't have any tensions as far as how they will meet the expenses. And because it's a debt-free company, so they don't have any obligation to pay interest also. So yes, what you need to understand and what you need to focus on, that whether low PE or high PE, is it supported by earnings, or is it possible that a company can sell the shares in future? And if yes, then it's a very good sign. In future, definitely the value will be unlocked. So let's say maybe not today, not a year later, whenever they sell, and they have to. So whenever they sell, a chunk of shares, maybe let's say out of 8 lakhs 49,000 shares, even if they sell 10,000 shares, maybe 40,000 shares, that gives you a good value, and that gives, all of the sudden, the value of the sale goes up. And because the value of sale goes up, the value minted by NBI will be much higher, and they will be able to generate cash, high cash flows. Sir, PBT is extremely high in 2017 and then low in 2018. Yes. See, this is the point that I am trying to explain. Whenever they sell shares, automatically their profits will go up. But because they are holding on to their investments, so obviously their profits will be low. So you don't have to worry about that. What you need to focus on is how these profits are coming. And because they have the potential to sell the wallet, and the total value of their AMCAP is only 324 crores versus the investments of 1600 odd crores. So ideally they have lot of room available to sell in future. And whenever they sell, the stock price actually goes up the roof, it multiplies, it goes up. And that is something which is an advantage side as far as an investor is concerned. So as an investor, you should feel that the stock is cheap, it has a lot of potential, and definitely in future it can rise. Now, this is another point, another way of valuation, which is time machine valuation, which is like with the help of Charlie Munger backward thinking approach. Now, as far as Charlie Munger backward thinking approach is concerned, what we did, we applied the Charlie Munger backward thinking approach on PBT numbers, which is profit before tax. And what we saw was a very important figure. We applied the numbers and we checked. So we arrived, with the help of SCFE model, we actually arrived at PV of terminal value. And once we computed with the current value, I saw that the price of NBI can be 10,000 rupees. So in future, there is a potential that this stock, if I apply the FCFE model, or if I do the calculations, In future, there is a possibility that this stock might quote at 10,868 also. So yes, you might feel that right now it is only available at 1300 rupees. How it is possible? Trust me, it is possible. So when we were looking at a price of 6444, that was also looking very attractive. I am sure if you check the price of 10,868, it makes you more attractive towards the stock that yes, in future this stock can give you value. So after applying all the discounting and taking conservatively, I can see that this stock has a potential to generate a return as good as, like, in the future it can quote at 10,000 odd rupees, and that is a good upside. And I am not taking a very high valuation. I have just taken 15% growth for the company, and even then the stock is giving me such handsome returns. Ninth very important point is CROIC, that is cash return on invested capital. And actually, this comes from EBITDA divided by total value of equity. Now, if you see, it is 719% for NBI. That's huge. So their return that they are able to generate from the cash flows, that's huge. So this return makes me even more attractive. Like this stock looks very attractive to me as far as long-term approach is concerned. Because if a company is able to generate a return on their investments of 719%, that's a huge return. And trust me, in future, because they have a lot of potential to do so, and what I expect, I see this is something which you need to look into. Let's say if I show you stock like, hmm, I don't know why this happens. Uh, this is also something which I probably need to learn, that why when I go back to my screen, why I'm not able to use my keyboard at times. I'm able to use the mouse but not the keyboard. Can someone help me, like, why it is so that I am not able to use my keyboard when I am sharing my screen at times? If somebody can help me regarding that, it will be great. Okay, so it's like Shree Cements. I can show you. Now, see, if you check, the value of Shree Cement is 18,625 rupees. And the best part is, what I'm trying to highlight with the point that we were talking about, the QOIC of NBI. And the best part with this particular company, with Shree Cement, it has a debt of 2159 crores, which is not much considering the AMCAP of the company, and understanding like what the company is doing. The most important point with Shree Cement, and the most important valuation, if you see the intrinsic value of Shree Cement, that is 67,000. That's again quite huge. But what I'm trying to focus on, and what I'm trying to say, it holds 95% shares in its balance sheet of NBI, and Shree Cement is able to make 1,340 crores of net profit. The best point, and the understanding that we have to make over here is, when you talk about QOIC, they are actually holding companies which has huge potential, plus Shree Cement, if you see the dividend yield, it gives you a dividend yield of 0.59%. So they are giving you a regular dividend plus, let's say if I show you even the dividend factor over here, see dividend payout of Shree Cement. So last, let's say if you see 3-4 years, 36%, 13%, 21%. So the good part is they are paying dividends regularly. These dividends account for the income for NBI, and because these are good percentage of dividends, ultimately the good part is they have bought a stock at a price of 28 rupees in their balance sheet. So for them, 20% dividend makes a lot of sense. And actually, this helps you to understand that a dividend payout of 21%, 20%, 36% increases the potential of NBI in a much better way. So going forward, the return that they are generating on their cash employed, because if you look at their cash, they employed a cash value which is much lower at a price of 28 rupees. It was peanut. If you see today only today, if you check Shree Cement, just by looking at today's value, see the fluctuation. Today, if I show you the price fluctuation of the stock, you will understand that stock is fluctuating every day. And now at a price of 18,500 odd rupees, 28 rupees is nothing. So the dividend that they are receiving every year is much more than the investments that they have done. And this is the point which I want you to understand. Their cash return on investment is much higher. So of FCFE, the minimum stock price that I focus on, that is 10,868. So there is a lot of potential. If we invest this stock, probably some of you may not be able to understand in first attempt, but yes, it's a very valid approach. See, there is a very common approach which is called as Modi, Gilani and Miller approach. It says the value of the stock should fall by the equal amount the dividend is paid. Now, so if the firm pays a dividend of 100 rupees, the value of the stock should come down by 100 rupees. Now, let's check and apply this theory to NBI Finance. Now, as you have please understand what is the current price, and they decide to pay current. If you are an investor, you will think, boss, I am investing 1300 rupees. I am getting 1500 rupees upfront, which means even in future, if NBI stock goes to zero, do you think you will lose money? You will never lose money, because the amount that you have invested is 1300 rupees. What you are getting in dividend is 1500 rupees. But there is a hypothesis which is getting invalidated over here. As far as Modi, Gilani and Miller approach is concerned, so with Modi, Gilani and Miller approach, this price should go below 100 rupees. But as we know, in stock market, the value of the share, like the minimum value of the share, cannot go below zero, because an investor loss is limited to the face value of the share and to the value of the share. So it cannot go below zero. Let's say the stock price is 1300 rupees, one cannot lose more than 1300 rupees. So if a company 1500, I tell you, the value of quoted investments is 1686 crores. What they can do out of this 1686 crores, as you can see on my screen, 1686 crores minus 368 crores. So they paid a dividend of, they sold some shares of Shree Cement, and they paid a dividend of 368 crores. So what is left with them is 1318 crores. So I have some query here. Sir, it is allowed by SEBI to give dividend of more than, yes, you can give a dividend of more than the current amount. If you have recently seen an example of Star, just few years back, Star gave a dividend which was higher than the share price. So I remember the stock price was quoting around 350, 400 odd rupees, and they decided to give a dividend of 550 rupees. So yes, you can pay dividend. If a company has that much amount available with them, they can surely give a dividend of more than the CMC. So that is allowed. So what I'm trying to focus on here is, like, they have 1686 crores available. Out of this 1686 crores, they will pay 368 crores as dividend. I hope you got this figure. How did I arrive at 368? 1500 dividend multiplied by number of outstanding shares. So ideally their share price should go negative because 1300 रुपए के शेयर के ऊपर आप 1500 रुपए का डिविडेंड दे रहे हो. So if you are paying 1500 dividend, this price should go negative. But even though you have paid a dividend of 1500 rupees, still on your balance sheet you have 1318 crores left. Now let me show you some simple calculations. This 1318 crores that you have, if I divide this by number of outstanding shares, so the number of outstanding shares that we had was 0.2456806. Still, the value of share comes out to be 5364 crore 64. That means 5,364 rupees is the value that I should still see on the stock. Now imagine if that happens, you got all your investment back, and whatever you hold, that investment has a value of 5364. So there is a huge potential that I see in this stock as far as future is concerned, and I think this potential can be unlocked. So I hope you got this point clear, that if you are investing this share, it can never go to zero, and it can never go negative. And in spite of paying a dividend of more than the current price, still the company will have a value of 5374 rupees. So as we have calculated this 5364 rupees, this value will still remain on the table. So the price will never go below zero, and it will never even fall in spite of paying the dividend of 1500 rupees, because there is a lot of value that an investor or anybody sees on the table. So that is something which you can keep in mind, and this is something which is called as hidden dividend approach, and it's a very important approach in finance. Whenever you find a stock where the value of the stock is much more than the value of the dividend that it can pay, trust me, that stock is a good buy as far as future is concerned. So you can buy that stock because it is quoting at an attractive looking valuation. And I hope this approach is quite clear and you understand how to apply this approach on a live stock. So I hope you got the clarity of this particular approach, how this approach is applied, and how to actually ensure that we make money out of this. Now, understanding another very important approach, that is the importance of being debt free. Because this company is debt free, so there is no burden on this company. They don't have to pay to anybody, and that is something which is the most important point with this particular company. And let's say tomorrow they come to a conclusion. They say, sir, we are bringing 2,500 rupees. Let's say that is the buyback price that NBI announces. So it's possible a company might think that instead of giving a dividend, why not to buy back the shares? So imagine you bought a share at 1,300 rupees. Company says that we are ready to buy back this stock at a price of 2,500 rupees. So it's nearly like double. Let's make it double. So it's 1,300 rupees right now. Let's make it 2,600 rupees. So company comes up with a plan that we will give you 100% gain on the stock, and we will buy back the stock from the market at 2,600 rupees. What will happen to the price? Every day it will actually hit upper circuit. Why? Because everybody will buy the stock because buyback is coming at 2,600 rupees, and company says we will do 100% buyback. So let's say if you hold 100 shares, 1,000 shares, or 1 lakh shares, company is willing to buy back all of your stock at 2,600 rupees, and the current price of the stock is only 1,300 rupees. So what will happen? Let's do some simple math. Company is willing to buy back your stock at a price of 2,600 multiplied by number of outstanding shares. So let's keep the figure in crores, 0.2456806. These are the number of shares. So what is the amount that the company will need? They will need 638 crores. Now, the amount that they have available on the balance sheet is 1,683 crores. Now, let me just verify this number. So if you check the amount that they have on the balance sheet as far as quoted investment is concerned, that is 1,686 crores. So 1,686 crores minus the value of the buyback that they are announcing. They are announcing a buyback of at 2,600 rupees. Number of outstanding shares is 24 lakhs 56,806 shares, so 0.246. So even after buying back the stock at double the price of the market, they will have 1047 crores available at their disposal, which means, let's say if the company buy back the stock from 1300 to 2600 rupees, still the value of the share that will remain in spite of paying double the price of the current price, that will be 0.2456806. If I divide this, it will still be 4262. So there is a lot of value on table that you can see as far as the stock is concerned, and lot to gain. So in spite of paying 2600 rupees as a buyback price, still minimum value that the company sees is 4262, in spite of paying that value, subtracting that value. And that is why this stock looks attractive to me at this particular price. And I hope you got the point, that why do I see this stock as a good stock for fundamental value, and why do I see that, okay, this is a stock which can give you a good amount of money in future. And that is the reason why I always look at a fact that the closer you see, the lesser you see. So sometimes, it's very important for you to focus on the things that you are not seeing in the balance sheet, the things which are hidden, and these are the things that can actually help you to make money in stock market. So I have some queries here. Let me answer them. I didn't get one thing. Why will it hit the upper circuit? See, sir, the point is very clear. Let's say right now the price is 1300 rupees. So as you have seen the price of NVI, we know that currently it is trading at 1305 rupees. As far as today's closing is concerned, it is 1305 rupees. Tomorrow, or let's say today evening, company says that we are coming up with a buyback at a price of 2600 rupees. So let's say if they are coming at a buyback price of 2600 rupees, most investors will, think stock is 1300 rupees, let's buy. Even if we get the chance to buy at 1500 rupees, 2000 rupees, and company is announcing 100% buyback, which means whatever amount of shares that you will have, company will buy back from you at 2600 rupees. So you are sure that the buyback will not be 20%, 10%. So usually what happens when company announces buyback and you want to sell the stock back to the company. So they don't buy the full shares. So let's say if you have 100 shares, they might just buy 20 or 25 shares out of your complete 100 shares. But let's say this company is assuring you that they will do complete buyback. And because they will do complete 100% buyback, so everybody will rush to buy these shares. Even if you get the share at 2500 rupees, you can see an arbitrage gain of 100 rupees. So you don't want to miss that. And let's say the company says that the buyback will be completed in next 15 days or 1 month. So automatically the stock price will keep going up and everybody will rush to buy that. And that is the reason why like everybody will look to buy. And because when everybody will look to buy, the stock will hit upper circuit. So I hope your query is answered, that why probably it will have hit the upper circuit. Then again, I have a query that, so please explain in brief 6 point of tax benefit. Why tax benefit? Because as I explained, some of the people, those who were like, if let's say if you are holding a mutual fund and redemption comes in mutual fund, a fund manager has to sell, and because fund manager has to sell in less than 1 year, he has to pay short-term capital gain. But it will not happen in case of a holding company. A holding company is not like under obligation to sell. They can hold their investment for more than 1 year, so they will only pay long-term capital gain. So they will have tax benefit. So I hope that this query is also clear. Another query that I have, sir, but on investment, is the business of the company, can they sell investment for buyback? Yes. Uh, Even if there is an investment company and they want to bring the buyback, they can do so. They can actually bring the buyback, and that is possible. Okay, now another query that I have is Just Dial. That Just Dial is going down. That is because the history of the Just Dial is that they announced the buybacks even before, but they didn't complete the buyback. They delayed the buyback. So if I show you the query is, sir, why the price of Just Dial going down? uh, See, it makes sense because when a management, they delays the buyback, or they probably brings down the price of the buyback, it reduces the confidence of the investor. So if you see, Just Dial, like it is trading at 350 rupees, and the buyback price is much higher, double the buyback price. But in spite of that, the price is not going up. It is because of the history. Like I remember they announced the buyback last time at 1500 rupees, and that buyback never happened. Later on, they cancelled it. So sometimes the history of the management is not good, and that is the reason why some buybacks are not successful. But over here, the company is assuring you that they will buy back 100%. In the case of Just Dial, it is not 100%. That is first thing. So what you need to remember is whether it is 100% or not 100%. In this case, it is not 100%. Another thing, in this case, there is no clarity when it will be done. And last time also they announced it and they rejected the buyback issue. Later on, they cancelled it. So because of such scenarios, people are not very sure and they don't want to buy the stock of Just Dial. So that is one reason why Just Dial is not performing as far as the buyback news is concerned. Okay. Any other query that any one of you has, or anything that you feel that okay? So any views on BNK Capital? I feel that yes, it's a stock that you can still continue to hold. It's a very good stock, and the portfolio of the BNK Capital is very good. So as far as the stock is concerned, even though the price is 150 rupees, there is no worry as such. You can keep on holding the stock, and you can keep on buying the stock. Okay. Past history also counts. Yes, past history of corporate actions do count. You cannot miss the past history. See, if the management is crook, nobody is going to believe you. So you need to ensure that the stock is good, and the management quality is good. Only after understanding those parameters, you actually pick the stock. So you cannot just ignore that. You have to be very sure that okay, this is the stock that I need to pick. Any other query that you have? I think we can avoid personal shares. So ITI or Jeevan Finance and all that, I think you can, if you have understood the case, you can do your research yourself. But even though yes, there are some stocks like as you are saying, Jeevan Finance, it's a good stock, not a bad stock, but fair enough. I think you can do more research. You can explore more individually on a stock. Any doubt as far as case is concerned? I hope everybody got the clarity, like how to apply the conditions on a particular stock, what are the parameters that you should look for, and how you can actually make money by doing fundamental analysis on a particular stock. If it is clear, so I think we can end the session. I will definitely look for your feedback. आपको जहाँ पे भी मौका लगे, like on Facebook, Twitter, please do give your feedback. I will love to hear your feedback. It gives me a confidence and motivation to keep conducting such sessions. So even though we are sitting at home in this COVID-19, but it gives you the motivation to keep doing something good. So I would love to see your feedbacks online. Thank you so much. I hope you could learn from this particular session. If even after the session, if you have any doubts, most welcome to ask any query, any doubt that you have. Thank you so much. I think you enjoyed the session, so we can end this session. Thank you, everybody. Any doubt? Can we close this? Okay. So I don't see doubts. Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you. Jai Shri Krishna.